Edged Out is a battle of the bands that we've done for 8 years. It's organized, produced, and funded by KBVU 97.5 The Edge, and all work is done by its executive staff. My summer station managers Miranda Klingenberg and Clark Coons began doing research, and they went out on the web and they liked dozens of band Facebook pages, and then when we began school in the fall, they already had a list. And we probably had 10 on our list, invited our top 6. When a couple couldn't participate, I think ended up with our top 5 and maybe the 8th choice.
Could you tell me a little bit about the bands and the lineup for Edged Out?
Well, typically we have anywhere from 5 to 7 bands, and we had 6 bands this year. They were, on the whole, pretty hard rock and alternative bands, although a couple of those hard rock and alternative bands were Christian rock bands. They came from Fargo, Sioux Falls, and Nebraska, mostly the Omaha area. Omaha is a hotbed for alternative rock bands, and so we've been routinely recruiting from there. Actually, after Saturday or Friday night's Edged Out, I thought maybe we should just do a Christian rock band concert. But I think if you listen to the lyrics, some of the bands clearly weren't Christian, and others, if you listen to the sermons in between the songs, others clearly were. I think maybe 2 or 3 of them were Christian rock bands. It's happened before because there's some really good hard rock alternative bands out there that just happen to be Christian bands, and we don't discriminate.
How is the winner chosen between the bands?
Well, we always have a panel of judges, and this year we had 3. We had a high school student who's a DJ on KBVU. We had a BVU alum, Jesse Fluke, who had been our music director and probably knows music better than anybody currently on the executive board. And then we had a woman who was here last year and was a part of our programming, who left BVU but has stayed pretty close to us. She's an expert in alternative music. She's from the Omaha area, and she just seemed like a natural third choice. We do have a rubric, and we evaluate along several dimensions. I think there were 5. I don't know if I can remember all of them, but musicality is certainly one that's important to us. Their ability to get the crowd active and interacting with them, and so the crowd participation is very important to us. Those are probably 2 of the most important. A lot of these bands routinely play concerts where they get nothing or they get part of the gate, which, again, isn't very much. We're different in that we guarantee every band who was there and played Friday night earned a guaranteed $200 for their performance, but then the winner, in addition to that, also receives a $200 at the end of the evening. Media folks took a picture of the entire KBVU exec staff and the winning band Colossus with their $200 ceremonial check. It was pretty clear to me that musically they were very strong, and they did an excellent job of getting crowd involvement. And, it might have been to their advantage that they just got off a month or 2 long East Coast tour. So these folks were people who have been playing and performing very, very routinely, and that polished performance show. I have already sent an email to Miranda, who's the station manager, and Clark and Jenna, who are our music folks, and asked them to not only follow up with Colossus. Colossus was the winner of Edged Out, and they're just automatically, we've already done this, invited to participate in Edge Fest. So Colossus will be in Edge Fest. But also to contact a couple other bands. We had 2 other bands that were on our A list, but who were unable to perform at Edged Out. And they're quite different from the alternative, headbanging, screamo music that really predominated at Edged Out. And so I'd like a little bit more variety at Edge Fest, and that's been common for us, both at Edge Fest and Edged Out in the past, where we have more variety, some power punk and power pop and maybe more traditional alternative rock kinds of bands than the screamo. And so for Edge Fest, I'd like to see more variety, and of course looking to have Colossus here. And then, maybe what we need to do, too, is look back at some of the previous bands that have been very, very popular, like The Suit, which headlined Edged Out and Edge Fest in past years, and consider bringing back some real crowd pleasers to make sure that we have a good audience. This is our 8th Edged Out and the smallest crowd that we've had at an Edged Out. Our first Edged Out, 8 years back, 2005, I think, was in the Elks Lodge. And the Elks Lodge holds 400, and we had that thing almost packed. I think we, in the end, counted receipts and had about 325 paid admissions. And, of course, in addition to paid admissions, you have the band members, you have the staffers, so we probably were close to being at that 400 limit for the building. Casey Hall has a smaller limit, and we were someplace between 50 and 75 paid admissions. So no, that wasn't a very good turnout. It was really, I thought, a well-run concert, and I also thought the music, the bands themselves were very, very good. Maybe one weak band among the 6, but the bands were as good as we've had in the past, and I can't explain that turnout other than to say, as I've watched Edged Out progress over the last 8 years, I have seen a drop in attendance from year to year to year. And I really think that we may have to face the fact that alternative music concerts are not as popular as they once were, and we may have to come up with another way to think about doing concerts and being involved in the community. And